Coming up on today's show.
We check out a new app that has been created to help the homeless.
Charities are stepping up to raise awareness of sexual consent in universities.
And we interview Britain's oldest footballer on his life and professional career.
Hello and welcome back to Quays News. I'm Beth Hemmings.
And I'm Matthew Wood. Today's top story. With
Sometimes we
homelessness
think about
rising
homeless
across Manchester, charity organisation Street Support have brought together organisations from across the region to help tackle the problem.
Michael Sheridan interviewed the app developer Gary Dunstan.
Sometimes we think about homelessness and it's people on the street, rough sleepers. That's really the tip of the iceberg. There are thousands of people in Manchester who are in sheltered accommodation, temporary accommodation, B&Bs, sofa surfing. They're homeless. And many of those have got like technology and a phone to help themselves, so they can find help. They can find where food is, they can find advice. Say they're about to be made homeless. What do? Well, they can go to emergency help, they can find the number to do with the council, they can go and find advice centres, booth centre, etc. They're all kind of listed on there. So it's that thing of, it's a really easy, it's something that's really easy to use. I say Viv's background is digital, and we've employed expert freelancers to make this piece of kit. We wanted to build this one place that helps everybody coordinate, this one place the vision is one place to come to find out about homelessness in the city and do something to help. What we'd advise is point people to the Big Change Fund, it's called. It's on the app, or if you go Big Change Manchester, you'll find it on Google and it'll point you to the app. And that's a fund that people can donate to. And the charities and grassroots, not just charities, but grassroots organisations can register to access that fund. And the money goes directly through them to people on the streets. Everybody needs to help out here. You know, the council and the police are saying that, you know, this is a spiralling problem, we need help. You know, their budgets are being cut. So it's that thing of, we've created a platform to help people kind of connect and make this thing happen. But it's about everybody kind of taking responsibility and doing something about it.
Last Sunday was the Transgender Day of Remembrance, a day dedicated to honouring the hundreds of transgender people who are killed each year as a result of hate crimes. Our reporter Paul Robinson paid his respects.
Salford's LGBT community came out today to show support to the 295 trans people worldwide murdered in the last year. Events at Salford University were put on to help spread awareness of transsexuality, and in a sign of remembrance, a tree was planted to show support to all trans people across the world.
So Trans Day of Remembrance is about remembering those people who have been subject to violence. Unfortunately, this is all too often taking place around the world. The issue is as well that because that's an ongoing thing, that actually many members of the community don't feel comfortable to report hate crimes. And actually with some members of the community also saying that if they were to report all the abuse that they experience, they wouldn't be able to get on with the rest of their lives.
People think it's fine to go and pick on a tranny because they'll never do anything about it. And to be honest, not a lot will. They just find it as, oh, that's just part of my life. This is because of a choice I've made. It's not a choice. No one chooses to go out and get bullied every single day unless they're a masochist.
Sexual consent classes have been popping up in university orientation schedules across the country. Our reporter Carl Bishop spoke with Edward Wilson, the founder of the charity Consent, to find out more.
Last month, the National Union of Students claimed that 1 in 5 students experienced some sort of sexual harassment during their first week of term. With on-campus incidents of sexual violence rising, sexual consent classes are becoming a common event during university orientation. However, these classes are themselves becoming a controversial issue, with some deeming their very existence as patronising. I'm here at Manchester Metropolitan University to speak with Edward Wilson, the founder of Consent Charity.
If sexual assault in this country is high, we're not exactly sure how high it is, but our best guess is that as many as 85,000 women and 12,000 men every year are raped, as many as 500,000 adults are sexually assaulted. There was research done by the Children's Commissioner that showed that only 20% of young people have a working knowledge of consent. So these aren't things which are commonly known. We're not telling people how to live their lives, we're just informing them about the law, about how to interact with people, and giving them a space in which they can explore these ideas. It's been shown again and again that if you teach people about consent, the incidence of rape and sexual assault drops. So it seems a no-brainer to me. All you have to do is go out and talk to people and you can make a real difference in the rates of these terrible crimes. Every university we've talked to has been really happy to bring us on board, really enthusiastic, students become engaged. All our classes are given by student volunteers, and we've had so many applicants, and we will come in and help universities to provide classes like this with their students delivering, and then work with them to take those students into schools in their local areas.
For more information, students and universities can visit www.consentcharity.com. Carl Bishop, Quays News.
George Haig is 101 years old, and yesterday it was 8 years to the day that he made his debut for Stockport County Reserves.
That makes him the oldest ex-professional footballer in the world. Our reporter Matt Bullin spoke to him about his life, his career and the time he played against the great Stanley Matthews.
Yes, when I was playing for Rochdale, I was up against Stanley Matthews quite a few times. And we had some really good games. I think with it being area football during that period, Blackpool seemed to be in the same area as Rochdale, so came up against him quite a lot.
And what was he like to play against?
And he was a very, very difficult man to play against, I'll tell you. The only way that you could deal with him is to allow him to go down the wing and not allow him to come inside. Because once he came inside, you'd no chance.
And did you ever speak to him after the game?
After the game, we had quite a few meals together after the game, and he was quite a nice guy, you know, but he wasn't a socializer. And the reason he was able to stay playing top-class football when he was 50 years old, you know, was a wonderful effort.
What an achievement.
What an adorable man.
Seemed to have quite a rivalry with Stanley Matthews, didn't he?
I know, yeah, I did notice that actually. But you can see the full interview on our website, quaysnews.net. Now, the charity event Run in the Dark returned to Manchester earlier this week. Runners wore fluorescent armbands and gathered in Media City for the event. Rory Cohen has more.
On November the 16th, Run in the Dark returned to Manchester. Hundreds of runners donned fluorescent armbands and converged on Media City UK for the event. But what is Run in the Dark, and what's it for?
Well, it was set up because the guy for the Mark Pollock Trust, a man called Mark Pollock, he was he's an adventurer and he has been blind pretty much a big part of his life. He had an unfortunate accident which left him paralysed 2-3 years ago, and on the back of that he is now putting all his resources behind trying to connect people to find a cure for paralysis. Right. And the biggest fundraiser they have is this Run in the Dark series, which goes all over the world, but with a big focus on the UK, as Mark's Irish himself. So they have 3 big events in Ireland and then one in London, one in Manchester.
Brilliant. Okay, and logistically, what's been the biggest challenge about setting up the event?
Well, Manchester taking that on its own, the amount of big institutions we have around here, You're talking Coronation Street, you've got the Imperial War Museum, Manchester United, Media City, the Lowry. All of these people and all these institutions have things going on throughout the day, throughout the night, and we've got to be very conscious that we don't want to cause too much disruption in the area to the local economy and to the people who are working so closely with us. So for the run, we close a lot of roads. We are slightly interrupting people's normal business way of working, so it takes a lot of liaison, talking to people, making sure that we come to some sort of compromise in terms of what it is we want to achieve, but also to try and make sure they can still go about their business.
50 cities worldwide will host the event at the same time, seeing people from all walks of life come together to run or walk the 10k course to help cure paralysis.
So, what is it about running the dark that you think's special?
Well, it's an opportunity for everybody in our business to get together and have a night out together, do something positive, and have a positive fitness activity that will contribute to a good charitable event.
I think it's something different. It's normally from the normal, the weekends for me, especially for the cause in an environment that's quite an employee established. So a great thing straight after work, everyone gets together. We're all like how it is. This is my first time running here, and obviously you can feel the atmosphere already. It's different towards the normal, the runs on the Sundays, weekends that you tend to do. But again, it's the main thing is for the Mark Trust. I think it's a great cause, and what they're doing now is it's a great idea.
With no current cure for spinal cord injury, running the dark is helping to bring one step closer. Rory Cowan, Quays News.
Northern actor Paul Nicholls is in Blackpool with his latest theatre project, The Shawshank Redemption. We sent our reporter Joanna Higson along to have a chat with him.
I've come to Blackpool to talk to Bolton-born actor Paul Nicholls. He's here with The Shawshank Redemption that is at the Winter Gardens before it continues its national tour. So I'm going to run up there now and say hello. Thank you so much for talking to us. First of all, how does it feel to be back up north?
It's nice to be back up north, but it's you can't see, but it's been the weather's been pretty horrific this week. Kind of gale force winds, and the sea's been very choppy. Not that I'd go swimming in the sea in Blackpool anyway. Not that I'm a snob, but
for health reasons.
Yes, for health reasons. I don't want a third ear growing out the back of my head. But it is nice being back up north, but it's just been a bit miserable, a bit grim.
You're a northern working class guy. Have you ever felt that there is a certain prejudice in this industry towards people from that walk of life, as opposed to this whole Etonian kind of more elite group of actors that have come from a slightly different world?
I don't really want to slag anyone off or any kind of industries off, but it does kind of seem to me, Christopher Eccleston kind of speaks his mind about this very clearly. It does kind of seem that certain people and that come from certain classes or certain families or certain backgrounds, public schools and stuff like that, it does seem that they kind of walk into very good jobs very easily. I'd say definitely at the moment the industry kind of sways towards people of privileged backgrounds, but everyone's a human being and everyone's got their own stuff to carry. Just because you're from a privileged background doesn't mean that you're not a human being. But yeah, I'd have to agree with Mr. Eccleston now. It kind of does seem to be going that way.
Thank you so much for talking to us.
It's all right, my love.
It was very nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
And good luck with the rest of the run.
Thank you very much.
Joanna Higson, Quays News, Blackpool.
Now, Harry Potter spin-off Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them was released on Friday. Our film critic Anand Ahmed was here to give us the lowdown on whether it's worth seeing. So, Anand, how did you enjoy the film?
I watched the film in 3D with my family and we really enjoyed it, especially the Fantastic Beasts and the CGI that was the computer-generated imagery. It was really enjoyable to watch. I really, really did enjoy it, especially because it had its all little bits connected back to Harry Potter and the nostalgia. It felt really good to see that. But then again, it was a complete different story.
Well, my next question, sort of the question on everyone's minds, how does it relate to the Harry Potter franchise? things, or as you said, is it just completely different?
It does relate, but then it doesn't. Starting off, they're both obviously created and written by J.K. Rowling, and it was directed by David Yates, so was Harry Potter. But then again, this is set in a different universe, but of Harry Potter's 70 years beforehand, 1926, set in New York, which, a quick little fact, was the set was recreated in Watford, which I didn't know about.
No, in Watford in Liverpool?
Watford in Liverpool.
No!
The entire New York set was created in Watford.
That's incredible. The CGI graphics must be amazing.
They really were, especially if you watch in IMAX. So the links, they are, obviously because it's a new era, there's new terminology. For example, the Muggles in Harry Potter are known as the non-mags in here.
So what does that stand for?
The non-magic.
Oh,
so they can't do
okay,
magic.
that makes sense.
Yeah. The characters, again, they're not really similar, but they do stay links about Hogwarts and Dumbledore. So yeah, they are kind of casting links, but you can read into it. If you're a Harry Potter fan, you can read a lot into that. There's a lot more to it than we actually get to see. So yeah.
Okay, so star rating out of 5?
I would say 3.5.
3.5?
3.5.
Okay, that's still very good. Thank you, Anna. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So that looks like a brilliant watch. Now with hopes that this dreadful weather soon subsides, over to Andrew with the weather.
A very good afternoon to you all from Quays weather. The torrential rain which caused flooding in parts of Greater Manchester yesterday is still causing problems with public transport in the region, and the rain will clear away today, leaving a cloudy day but with some scattered showers. Temperatures are expected to drop to 4 degrees overnight, so make sure you wrap up warm and expect much the same tomorrow. Have a lovely day.
And finally, Manchester City Centre's first indoor go-karting track has opened to the public.
Karts are available for racers as young as 8 years old, with a bar and viewing gallery for the grown-ups. Our reporter Anna Lebowica went to the new venue to find out more.
Fast cars and competition combined with teamwork. That is how we can define the new sport attraction in Manchester. Team Sports, the biggest indoor go-karting firm in the UK, built a 550-metre two-level track just underneath the Manchester Arena. It is able to take 16 cars at the same time, reaching speeds up to 40 miles per hour. The newly opened circuit by Team Sport is their 19th track across the country. The managing director talks to us about the recipe for success.
We differentiate ourselves because we tend to invest a lot more in our fit out. So a typical fit out for us would cost anything from maybe £1 million to about 1.5 million. A lot of our kind of competitor tracks don't invest that amount of money in the facility, so the actual facility itself at a team sport track is often a lot better. But also it's our focus on putting the customer on pole position, and the level of service that we deliver we'd like to think is better than any of our competitors, and that's really what sets us apart from the team sport experience compared to what you could probably get somewhere else.
Go-karting is considered as a potentially dangerous sport because of the speed and the possibility of collisions. The company must try to keep the safety standards on the highest level.
We have got a lot of safety measures that are in place to ensure the safety of the drivers who actually take part on our circuit. So for example, we supply lots of safety gear, drivers race in race suits, we have race helmets as well. Before they actually take part on the circuit, we carry out a driver's briefing, which effectively lasts for about 10 minutes or so, where we cover all the main rules of what we actually do.
Team Sport also prepared many great offers directed specifically at students. The track is also a new additional solution for Manchester University's Racing Society.
Having a track in the city centre is really good because previously they've been quite hard to get to for us and our society. This will mean that we can practice a lot more for the up-and-coming championship.
With the new attraction in Manchester, it's all about the speed and adrenaline. In the heart of the city, the newly opened indoor karting arena is ready for the future riders. I'm ready for my ride. For Quays News, Anna Lubowicka.
Unfortunately, that is all we have time for today. Join us next Tuesday at 1:30 for your latest news, reviews, from Salford and Greater Manchester. And don't forget to tune in on Friday for Quays News' 5th birthday extravaganza.
Until then, find us online on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook and now Snapchat, all Quays News.
Thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye.